in the television courtroom was thick with a palpable tension, crackling with the unspoken hostility between two women, whose lives had collided as violently as their vehicles. A clash that began not on a busy highway, but in the seemingly innocuous confines of a supermarket parking lot, a place designed for convenience, not conflict. Judge Judy Scheindlin, a figure of formidable authority and razor-sharp intellect, sat poised at the bench, her eyes scanning the documents before her with a speed that belied their deep comprehension. This was the calm before the storm, the quiet moment where the facts were assembled before the emotional dam was destined to break. The case was Polk versus Wilson, a civil suit that sounded dry and legalistic but promised a drama fueled by frustration, financial strain, and an accusation that escalated a simple accident into a saga of alleged harassment and vandalism. The plaintiff, a woman named Brenda Polk, sat with a posture that suggested a mix of defiance and unease, while the defendant, Jeanette Wilson, exuded the weary righteousness of someone who believed wholeheartedly that she was the true victim, forced into the role of the aggressor by another's profound irresponsibility. The court officer, Bird, announced the case with a sonorous voice that commanded silence, and as the parties were seated, Judge Judy began to peel back the layers of this dispute, starting with the undeniable, foundational truth that would hang over every other accusation like a dark cloud. Ms. Polk, Judge Judy began, her tone deceptively conversational. I read the complaint and the answer in the counterclaim in this case, and what I'm getting from both of you is that you were involved in an automobile accident. With the defendant, Brenda Polk's yes was quiet, an admission of the one fact she could not contest. It appears, Judge Judy continued, her words measured and precise, that the accident was your fault. Another soft yes from Brenda Polk. A confession that should have been the beginning and end of the story, but was, in reality, merely the first domino to fall in a long, chaotic chain of events. Judge Judy then turned her attention to the heart of Jeanette Wilson's grievance, painting a picture of the defendant's pristine possession, the source of her pride and now her profound irritation. The defendant was driving a brand new car she had gotten a day or so before, correct? Another affirmation, this one from Jeanette, who likely felt a fresh pang of loss for the untouched beauty of her vehicle, a feeling Brenda Polk, it seemed, could not fully appreciate. And it had insurance on it, correct? Judge Judy confirmed, establishing the normal, responsible course of action that stood in stark contrast to what was to come. The narrative then moved to the immediate aftermath of the parking lot collision. After the accident, Judge Judy recapped, the defendant went to the police station. You were supposed to follow her. Here, the stories diverged. Jeanette Wilson's firm yes was met with Brenda Polk's immediate and contradictory no, a sign of the conflicting realities that would define their entire interaction. The judge, with the patience of someone who has seen every manner of evasion, cut through the disagreement. Just a second. Had you exchanged information? She asked, returning to the fundamental protocol. Brenda conceded that she had, but only partially. Yes, I gave her my name, she stated, as if this were a sufficient offering. My name and my number, yes, but Judge Judy was already zeroing in on the critical omission, the gaping hole in Brenda's accountability. Name and phone number. Did you give her your insurance card? The answer that came was not just a simple no. It was a convoluted confession that revealed the entire core of the problem. I did not give her my insurance card, Brenda said, adding a baffling. My insurance card came out with my valid driver's license. She thought I had insurance, but I told her I hadn't paid my insurance bill. The statement was a masterpiece of self-incriminating confusion, implying that the physical card existed but was void, a paper promise she had broken by non-payment. Judge Judy distilled this ramble into one devastatingly simple sentence. That echoed in the silent courtroom, so the problem was you were driving your car that was uninsured. Brenda's meek yes was a thunderclap of admission. She had been operating a potentially dangerous machine on public roads with no financial safety net. A gamble that had now resulted in a very real, Very expensive consequence for Jeanette Wilson, Judge Judy. Connecting the dots for Brenda and the audience laid out the financial domino effect. Now, she used her insurance to fix her car, but she had a $1,000 deductible. That was your responsibility, $1,000. For Jeanette, it was the price of restoring what had been damaged through no fault of her own. For Brenda, it seemed to be an abstract number, a debt she hoped would simply vanish if ignored. The judge, her voice taking on a tone of incredulous clarity, then addressed the heart of Brenda's lawsuit, the part of the story that seemed to defy all logic. "Let's get the facts of this case straight out," she commanded, "because I have a feeling you're not processing what this is about. Because you're suing her for harassing you." The laughter that rippled through the audience was involuntary, a release of the tension built by Brenda's astounding lack of self-awareness. Her suing Jeanette for harassment was like an arsonist suing the fire department for getting water on their lawn. Yes, Brenda affirmed, seemingly oblivious to the absurdity. Judge Judy spelled it out with the blunt force of truth. Because she wanted her money. Other than that, she wouldn't have called you. She wouldn't have called you 100 times or 50 times. She wanted her money because you were driving around. You hit her brand new car, you had no insurance, and you were dodging her, Brenda's weak protest. "I was not dodging her" was instantly dismissed by the judge's experienced verdict. Absolutely. Judge Judy declared, the word leaving no room for argument. She then posed the ultimate question, the one that would determine the entire direction of the case. Did you give her her $1,000? Brenda's no was a quiet, damning finale to her own defense. And in that moment, Judge Judy delivered a promise that was both a judgment and a relief for Jeanette Wilson. Well, she's gonna get it today. The audience's laughter this time was one of approval, of justice being visibly served in front of them, but the case was not over. There was still the matter of Brenda's counter-accusation, her attempt to paint herself as the victim. Judge Judy, ensuring every angle was examined, moved to the plaintiff's claim. "Your allegation is that Ms. Wilson vandalized your car." Brenda's yes was firmer now, clinging to this last shred of grievance. The judge established the timeline, confirming the accident happened on May 13th, and then dived back into the messy details of the initial exchange. She revisited the issue of the phone number, a key piece of evidence in establishing Brenda's intent to evade. She had your name and telephone number. Did you ever speak to her on the phone? Brenda's response was a telling jumble of deflection. Well, she claims I didn't give her she didn't write down the right number at first. So she called Progressive and Progressive was calling me. And I told Progressive to give her my right phone number. It was a story that sought to blame Jeanette for a clerical error. But Judge Judy saw right through the flimsy narrative. So not only did you give her no insurance card, 'cause you didn't have one, she summarized, her voice dripping with sarcastic disbelief, but you gave her a phony number when she wrote down your number. Brenda's denial was swift but weak. No, I did not. Judge Judy was having none of it. Her laughter was not one of humor, but of sheer astonishment at the audacity. "Oh, yes, you did," she stated, a fact she had deduced from the sheer logic of Brenda's position. "Oh, yes, you did." She dismantled Brenda's excuse piece by piece. "That was only because you got called by what you considered an authority," she reasoned, pinpointing the moment Brenda was forced into a corner not by the woman she wronged, but by the power of an insurance company. Judge Judy then reconstructed the scene in the parking lot with the clarity of a master storyteller. On the street when you asked her for your name, you gave her your name, didn't give her your license, didn't give her registration for the car, didn't give her anything. And you gave her a telephone number that turned out to be wrong. She rejected Brenda's pathetic attempt to blame Jeanette. "'Cause she wrote it down wrong," Brenda insisted. "No," Judge Judy countered, her voice firm and final. "No, she's driving a brand new car that you just hit in an accident that was your fault. I guarantee you Ms. Wilson did not write down the number wrong. 'Cause that doesn't make sense." And then she delivered the crushing conclusion. The true motivation behind Brenda's every action in the wake of the accident. What makes sense is that you were a smarty pants and gave her the wrong number, and figured she would go away. A long pause hung in the air, letting the weight of that truth settle on everyone in the room. Judge Judy looked directly at Brenda Polk, her expression a mixture of pity and contempt, and finished with the ultimate, undeniable reality of the situation. Well, she didn't go away.